thought I'd share my bread recipe for back here at the cabin. It's a pretty simple one. We've got 3 cups of flour, half a tablespoon of salt, 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, 1 1/4 cups of water, a tablespoon of oil, cooking oil, vegetable oil, so on and so forth, and an egg, and that's pretty much the entire thing. Pre-mixed my salt and sugar. Well, I guess I should remember. A package of quick yeast. It eliminates having to let the dough rise twice. Get it added in here. Blend it into the flour. And the water, you want it a little warmer than room temperature. And you add the egg to the water, get it mixed up, and of course the oil as well. It's all blended. Dogs are being asses here for pain tonight. Okay, then it's just, I guess, the usual. Get it all blended together. I tend to use, or put in, I leave out about 1/4 or so to 1/3 of the flour, because it's going to get added as I am kneading the dough. And it starts out pretty crappy looking. Don't blend very well. Kind of scary. I've been using this same mixing bowl back here an awful long time, a lot of years. Yeah, it's kind of important to keep your Ellie, you be good. He's making a video. It's kind of important to keep the flour handy. You need to flour the surface of a counter. Obviously, the most important part of any of this is make sure the counter is all cleaned up good before you start. Kind of a never-ending job here in the woods. Okay, that's good. Mixed as that's getting that way. And well, the kneading process, you want to knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes. I'm not going to bore you with keeping the video going for all that time, so we'll come back to that in a couple moments. And we're back. The dough is almost ready. We're almost done being kneaded. Important part right at the last few minutes of kneading, making sure you get any spots where it's folded over or anything like that that could cause air bubbles, like bigger air bubbles, because everybody hates them great big air bubbles in a loaf of bread. I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, look at that, we got an air bubble, let's like call the newspaper," or some crap like that. Anyway, dough should be getting feeling kind of firm by this point. And yeah, just keep, as you're kneading, just keep adding just a tiny bit of flour at a time to Keep it so it's not so sticky to your hands or to the counter. By the time you're done, it should work out to the full 3 cups of flour that's going to be supposed to be in it to begin with, but I found that's the easiest way to not overdo it. I found this recipe online and just had to try it. I've made a few changes. The egg isn't originally in the original recipe, but I had to try it out one time and the bread turned out a lot better than normal, so another important part of this, especially back here cooking in the wood stove, like in the oven with the wood stove, is you want a good non-stick pan. Pans you have to grease are useless in a wood stove because of the temperatures. The stuff just all goes to the bottom into the bottom of the pan under the loaf. I've had loaves that are pretty messed up because of that. The whole bottom of it either burns or just doesn't cook at all because it's too wet in the oil, or margarine, or shortening, or whatever you happen to use for when you have to grease a pan. Well, it's been 9 minutes here now. Yeah, 9 minutes kneading. So we're right on schedule here. I got these pans. Oh, I don't even remember where I got these pans. I picked them up at Walmart or something, someplace like that. You got just into the pan it goes. Oh, where's my knife? Trusty knife. Score the top. Not too deep, obviously, but. And from here, it's pretty much cover it and let it rise for half an hour, approximately. Sometimes I let it sit for an extra 5 to 10 minutes. I try to keep it to the half-hour mark. Lid back on the flour canister. I found this is the perfect spot for raising the bread. Is I put a wire rack down on the stove at far end from the firebox. Another important part of this, if the camera can't pick it up in here, the thermostat in the front of the stove, it's reading about 300 right now, but that's a pretty big oven that's in there. When it comes time to put the bread in, if you put the bread in the back corner of the oven on the firebox side, it's actually about 450 degrees back there, which happens to be the temperature for the baking bread. So we'll come back to this once it's risen some and see how it looks. Well, it's been 35 minutes. Let's see how well it's risen. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. Time to go in the oven. And there we go. Now you can see the thermometer. Temperature's dropped a bit in there. But not too much. Not enough to matter. And yeah, this door is pretty warm. But yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty big oven. But I just put the bread in the back corner right next to the firebox, and ooh, really hard to see inside there. That gets it into the right type of heat for baking. It's quite the little latch that my dad had came up with for the oven here. The original catch was busted when we got the stove. Dad made this little pivot handle catch. You gotta tighten up the screw on it. But yeah, that's about it. Half hour from now, should have some fresh bread. Hey everyone, time to get the bread out of the oven. Looks like it turned out pretty good. Took 35 minutes. The oven did cool off just a little bit while it was baking, but looks a lot lighter on the camera than it really is. Browned up a little bit. Here's the nice part about no stick pans. Perfect loaf of bread. Just gotta let it cool off a bit for perfect. There will be other baking recipes as time goes on to go with the other cooking recipes that I do back here with the wood stove, and hopefully some people learn some stuff and what you can have back in these little cabins in the woods. And not that people are really dumb enough that they don't know that already. It's just that they can see how easy it is to do the baking. Well, there we go, everyone. Nice easy bread recipe. Like people have, a couple people have stated, don't gotta eat crappy when you're in these little cabins in the woods like this. You can have some pretty nice stuff. Great meals. I have a few other bread recipes that I'll share as time goes on when I make them, and it's all pretty much based on the same recipe though, so most people can just use their imagination and add this and add that to them. I make a good raisin bread using the same recipe. I just add a bit of cinnamon and raisins to it. Okay, a lot of raisins to it. I have an oatmeal bread where I use oatmeal muffin mix in to replace like half a cup of the flour. It works out pretty good. It has a great taste to it, great texture. And several other recipes that I'll share over time. Everyone have a great night. I'm going to have a nice fresh sandwich and maybe some toast instead and something like that. And try not to have to share with the dogs too much. Night, everyone.